All right, everyone. Here we are. It is another fascinating episode with my dear friend, mentor. He's a father, grandfather. He is a postage stamp collector and
That's
all
correct.
around great guy and attorney, James Auffant. Hey, Jimmy, how are you?
I am doing fine. I'm really want to bring to you, everybody, today, uh, what you have been commenting on both sides. This is kind of interesting, but I'm going to try to bring to you what neither side is really bringing to you, because all they do is concentrate, and there's been a deviation in the news. Unfortunately, some people on the right get everything from Fox News and News Nation. Everybody from the left gets it from CNN and MS Now, and nobody really thinks that everybody thinks that they're getting a fair and share and everything equitable distribution of the news. The truth of the matter is that if you have a friend that's telling you these are not good, go to this source, he's sending you to a source that is also somebody who's going to give you what they want. So realistically, at this point, we have things that uh, are absurd. But I'm going to go with something that occurred this week that really blew my mind.
Okay.
This is something they're not going to bring to you. You all know that Como has a program on News Nation at 8 o'clock. He's
Okay.
had that program for some time. It's not new. This Wednesday, yesterday, excuse me, this Tuesday, he had Senator Ron Johnson invited
Wisconsin.
as a guest
Okay.
from Wisconsin. Now, it's kind of interesting because the purpose of that program, Como was discussing how Jared Kushner and his partner have made $3.2 billion from Arab nations for their
Yeah.
investment firms, which nobody else invested in them other than Arab countries. Nobody else has,
Right.
because as investment countries companies, they have to disclose. So it's not like I'm making this up. They have not reported anybody else. Uh,
Right.
and basically, strangely, these are the countries who have not signed the Abraham Accord. Now, that's
Mm.
another other interesting issue, but that's here nor there. What are these countries expecting to get from these two people? Oh, come on. This is the problem where at times uh, he was trying to say, here's the hypocrisy of both sides. Biden sold his last name and made money, and it was wrong. And Republicans were up in arms, as they should have been, because of this. Jerry Kushner and his partner are doing the same, and nobody, the news is not really reporting this as much as. But here's where this is what threw me off. I'm going to read this because I don't want to misquote him. Senator Ron Johnson said that he believes that what Trump family is doing has done enriching themselves through the White House was wrong, but that it was not his job. It was not his job to criticize his party. His job was to criticize the other party. There lies the problem that we've had for the last 20 years. We're not loyal
Hmm.
to the Constitution. We're not loyal to the facts. We are loyal to our parties. He went on and talked about some other things about vaccine because, like Kennedy, he's fascinated with vaccine, and he tried to change the subject. But he did say that he's not there to criticize his. So, in other words, he acknowledges that what Kushner and his partner are doing is wrong. What the sons of Trump are doing is wrong. He acknowledges, but he's not going to criticize it nor make an issue out of it. Now, this is why I wanted to take today this subject, because this is the problem with our media. This, to me, is
Hmm.
something big. This is something that is not a conspiracy. This is not something that I'm making up or pulling out of my behind. This is something he said on the record. Okay? This is something that a U.S. senator is saying, yeah, it's wrong what they're doing, But I'm not here to criticize my party. I'm here to criticize the other party. Look, when you have, and this is where I have a little bit of a problem with this. If you're going to say that what Biden did was wrong, and I admit it as a Democrat that what he did is wrong, and that he should be chastised, and that yes, the people that paid him $50,000 a year to be on a board, they did it because his last name was Biden. I would agree.
Right.
I would agree. Okay. But when you have somebody taking $1.2 billion from Arab countries, invest in their scheme, and from other companies, when you have from the record that has been reported, not that I'm making this up, that last year the Trump family made over $4 billion, the majority in bitcoins. They reported, not that I'm creating a conspiracy, they reported. And it's been a pay for toll. And that is okay. That's okay. We're not going to discuss that. But we still have the hypocrisy of trying to create other things. This is the problem that we're having. These things need to be reported. The corruption in this country on both sides is rampant. But we want to fire federal employees. We want to blame other people that they're eating children. We want to say that the other side is responsible for all my ills and things like that. There is where you have a problem, because we are buying the bullshit sent to us by the right and the bullshit sold to us by the left. And once we decide, I'm not going to take this bullshit anymore, and really say, look, Republicans are no saints, Democrats are no saints, but at this point, yes, you have to do something. Now, this is where it becomes even more interesting. I know you heard that the president changed planes midway through Europe to here because of a threat.
Security issues.
Security issues. Okay, that's what he said. Now, let me again read, because I do not want to misquote this. It was the Israel intelligence through Netanyahu who told the president that there was a plot from Iran to kill him.
Correct.
Now, Trump's intelligence has confirmed that they are always on the lookout for threats to the president, because that's their job. Okay? Yeah. Not that they, all of a sudden they did it. That's a concept. And that there's been no real threat coming from Iran. Yeah, there were people with posters saying kill Trump, but there's people even in this country say, have said that in posters. That is not an official government thing. It's not an official government plot. But again, Netanyahu has taken Trump for a ride. He did it, said, go into there, bombard them. In 6 days, they will surrender, and you have a great victory. He believed them. Contrary to what his generals told him, that's not going to happen. He did it, and now we're in a predicament that has caused us. These are the things that neither the left or the right, because they're more concerned in how Trump has lost popularity, which we know. We don't need them to tell us that. How Democrats can win, or how the Republicans are doing this or that. That's what they concentrate. I don't give a shit what Mike Johnson says, because he's full of shit, to be quite honest. And I don't care what Trump is saying about certain things, because that's not my issue. But that's what they're reporting. Okay. Now, this is something else that I could ask you. Do you know when the Affordability Act became law?
The Housing Affordability Act?
No, Housing Affordability Act.
How it became and when it became law. When 10 days after it was submitted to the president and he let it sit on his desk. I think that was either Monday or Tuesday that it became law.
Last Friday. Did you hear?
It was last Friday. Okay.
Did you hear that on the news? No.
I mean, we're outliers because that's what we do. We're always listening and watching, but yeah, it was. I heard it on the New York Times daily
Okay,
podcast.
good. You're
Right.
right. That's what I was going to get to. The New York Times was the only one that reported. Fox News did not report it. News
Mhm.
Nation did not report it.
Mhm.
CNN did not report it. MSS Now did not report it. And neither did ABC, NBC, or CBS.
Wow.
It was not reported. This
And,
is
and
one, and this is what I'm trying to get to you. This is in 20 years, we have not had a more popular and more bipartisan law passed by the U.S. Congress that's
right.
going to benefit the American people than this. But that's not important. We're not going to report it. That's what I'm
And
trying to do. These are the things you need to know about that they don't tell you. And they don't
and
tell you.
just for the
Yeah.
historical context, Jimmy, because it's not that often that a bill with such, like you said, such bipartisan support sits on the president's desk, and for 10 days, constitutionally, again, this is a constitutional historical event, the bill is automatically law because of that clause in the Constitution that allows the bill to become law if it sits on the desk of the president.
Okay.
So,
And
just
for
for the
those of you
historical perspective.
who want to be correct, it's Article 1, Section 7 of the U.S. Constitution that
Yes,
says that if the president does not act on a bill, which means it doesn't veto it, it becomes law.
that's right.
Now, what is even more interesting is the reason why the president decided not to sign it. He's put the pressure on the SAVE Act, which we know is going nowhere. That's going nowhere fast, okay?
Okay.
But this is why he said no to it. He said no to the Mortgage Affordability Act because it had the word affordability, which is a made up word by the Democrats.
See, I
See,
think I
Trump is
get
his
it.
worst enemy. He talks and he talks and he talks and he talks, and he never shuts up. And he says, like when Lindsey Graham died,
Yeah.
he went on a rampage that a lot of people, even the people in Fox News, were trying to bring him back, and they couldn't. He just kept saying he was a lousy golfer, this and that. I mean, it was horrible. But uh, he, in one of those things that he mentioned when they asked him, well, why not? It's because affordability is a made-up word from Democrats. Now, if you are one of those MAGAs who believe that, you really
Mhm.
need some serious help with your economics, because if you don't think that this country has an affordability issue, it has, and it still does, and it's
Yes.
about to get worse. Now, let me ask you a question. Have you ever heard of the Heritage Foundation?
Yes, I have. Yes, I have.
How much?
They're the backers of the project 2030 or yeah, or
2025.
2025. Yeah. We talked about it. Yeah.
Okay, how much trust do you put in their research? Not too much.
I've talked
Okay,
about them for a long time, and
okay,
I've had my
okay. Let me
concerns.
put it this way: would you consider them a conservative think tank?
Oh, without a doubt, yes. Without
Okay,
a doubt, yes, they are.
okay. This is the other thing that is not published because people do not want to publish it. Let me read this again. The Heritage Foundation,
Mhm.
the one who brought us prior to 2025, you're correct, just finished a study that shows that in the past 20 years in this country, over 200 million vote by mail ballots have been issued in this country. Okay,
Okay.
200, an average of 10 million more or less a year. Okay, including, and here's the bullshit that pisses me off with Donald Trump. He and his family voted by mail here in Florida.
That's
Okay,
correct.
that's correct. Okay, but the SAVE Act is going to eliminate that because there's so much fraud in the vote by mail. Their study revealed that in the 20 years, only 243 were voted by fraud.
Okay.
And of those, 123 people were convicted for fraud. The other people apparently did it out of ignorance. In other words, they shouldn't have voted because they, whatever. Okay. Fraud is a difficult thing to prove legally. Okay. Just so everybody, okay. If you commit a boo boo, that's not fraud, but okay. But
Sure.
still, that's less than 1/3 of 1% of this country. It's a problem that does not exist, but it's part of the SAVE Act. A conservative, I'm using here, just so people, oh, he's coming with this bullshit. No, I'm using a conservative think tank called the Heritage Foundation. Their study, not a study from the left, not a study from some crazy university, a study from the Heritage Foundation. Basically, they did the study because, believe it or not, the first people
Okay.
to push vote by mail was not Democrats, was Republicans.
That's correct.
Okay? And Republicans have benefited from vote by mail as much as Democrats. Okay? So they're not in favor of abolishing vote by mail in no stretch of the imagination. Okay.
Fair enough.
That's where it comes from. Now, the SAVE Act is one of the reasons that the president used to not sign the Mortgage Affordability Act, which I do not understand the connection, but whatever it is. Right now, we know that the SAVE Act does not have the votes in the Senate. And if right now Mike Johnson tries to push it for a fourth time, I keep hearing that he might not have the Republicans that would vote for it, particularly since he has so many Republicans who are announced they're not coming back. So they have nothing to lose if Donald Trump condemns them to anything. So that is something that is there. But we know that there's no favor in the, right now you might have people not even voting for Blanche because you have the senator from North Carolina who's quit, who said, I don't think so. And we have even the Senator Cornyn from Texas who got pushed out. Now, let me bring the other thing about Cornyn. For those of you who did not know it, the Wall Street Journal, which is also a conservative newspaper, I like to use the conservative because people, oh, no, he's using liberal people. No. The Wall Street just published an article about the nonprofits of MAGA and Donald Trump and how he controls those, and they're over $800 million.
Yes.
Yeah,
that's correct.
They have spent only $5 million. And you want to know what they spend it on?
I bet you it was travel and or paraphernalia for Donald Trump.
No.
Oh, really?
No, they're kind of legit. Okay.
Oh, okay.
They're kind of legit. They spent $3 million to take out Massey, and $2 million to take out Cornyn.
Yes.
And
right.
to do it, and let me say legitimate, because the Republican Party per se cannot spend money to take out a candidate. But the MAGA, which is under complete control of Donald Trump, can do whatever they want. They spent $5 million to take out two candidates, two Republicans. You make your opinion of whatever you want. I don't care,
right.
But I find it interesting that MAGA money, which was donated to help elect people, was used to get people out. But
right.
That goes without saying. And let me end this with something that you all know and has been reported by everybody. Well, not all of this, but most of it. Last Friday, in his media, Truth Media, whatever.
Yeah, Truth Social. Truth Social.
He put out, and this is the interesting part, he announced to the world that the ceasefire was over.
Correct.
It wasn't Iran who announced it. Yeah, Iran threw some things that they shouldn't have, but that's not the first time that they have done it. and the ceasefire was still saved. We shoot each other and we're back. That a ceasefire was over, and the minute that he announced that last Friday, now you're paying $4 a gallon, and you're going to continue to pay higher gasoline prices. Uh, this war is not popular among Americans. The numbers are not there. Uh, this war has done one thing that I really, really try to clarify to people. Just like Donald Trump is not the United States of America, he might be our president, but don't blame us for what Donald Trump does. And the Europeans recently said that when he went over there and were able enough, smart enough to say, that's Donald Trump. We don't hate the Americans. It's Donald Trump, as it should be. Unfortunately, what has created this war is an anti-Semitism feeling towards Israel, which is not deserved. Okay? Israel is not at fault for this war. Now, if you want to say Netanyahu, I will accept that. I will accept that Netanyahu and his Republican ultra-right government in Israel is responsible for the war in Iran and for the predicament we are in oil prices and what's happening in Gaza. I would accept that. But do not put all the Israel people in the same boat. Just like we don't want to be put in the same boat for what Donald Trump does, I don't think it's fair to put the people of Israel. Now, if you want to say that Netanyahu has committed genocide, that's your prerogative, and that's fine. If you want to say that Netanyahu was the one who convinced the president to get into this war, I don't have a problem, but it wasn't Israel.
Right.
Do not put the whole Israel people in this boat because that's not fair. But what I'm seeing, okay, and mostly from the right, from Megyn Kelly, let's stop calling them where they are, Tucker Carlson, Marjorie Taylor Greene, and I could keep on going, an attack against Israel. Israel is responsible that they elected a moron, just like we're responsible because we elected a moron. But that's where the responsibility ends. What these people have done is not with our acquaintance. So if you want to blame Netanyahu for all this, that's fine. But I really feel that the anti-Semitism that is growing largely, mostly in both sides, left and right. So to say that's only one side is bullshit. It's in both sides.
It's both sides.
It's both sides. It's not justified. Okay?
Right. And Jimmy, with those individuals you just mentioned, Carlson, Candace, Megyn Kelly, and MTG, they all have one other thing in common, is that they've all moved even further away from Trump and MAGA. And even Trump at one point did speak to that. I mean, I don't get it. I really don't understand their persistence, and it is anti-Semitic. And yes, you do see it on both sides across the spectrum.
Okay, I will not go into the anti-Semitic, but I will go in why they distance themselves from Trump and MAGA. First of all, let's stop this bullshit. MAGA is a movement that Trump took over. He did not create it. He was not the benefactor. He is the benefactor of it, but what he did is he bullshitted them into believe that he was one of them. What he's done is they're right when they say he's enriched himself from it, that he has done things that, but foreign wars, MAGA's against those. Okay? Him getting involved in Venezuela, they forgive him because it was a one-day event. Okay? To be quite honest. But they even forgave him for not getting involved in Gaza. That's fine. But when he decided to go into Iran and screw up the economy of the United States, they've always been against foreign wars. Some MAGA people, who are not MAGA people, they're really Trumpists, and I try to make the distinction, have tried to justify this war. There is no justification, but they've tried. Why? Because they support Trump unconditional. Fine. But the MAGA people have not seen anything that's made the economy better from Trump. They have seen nothing that makes this country any better than it used to be. And all they've seen from him, and not from him, because I like the way that Kelly Megan put it. She's kind of a smart girl.
Oh,
Trump is not the one behind the immigration issue. It's Stephen Miller.
okay. I can see some truth to that. Yes, he is the driving force behind
Yeah.
the immigration policy. There's no doubt about that. And
Okay.
and Trump gives his seal of approval.
Exactly. But uh, the thing realistically is they don't see him following the pattern of MAGA. They don't see it. They
I
see him
agree.
just, he's taking care of his enemies. He's taking care of those who wrong did him. He's forgiving those who basically have done some questionable things, especially those who broke into the Capitol on January 6th. Blind forgiveness to all of them. Even some MAGA people are like, that's not what we signed up for. So basically, there are a lot of MAGA people who are questioning him. Even Joe Reagan the other day has questioned him a lot. So it is,
Yes, yes.
as a matter of fact, Vance had to go there and say, hey, we fucked up. And for Vance to say, we fucked up, it takes a lot. It is an issue right now that basically, how can I say this? MAGA people have starting to wake up that they've been used. That he said, I believe in this, but he's done really nothing to help it. As a matter of fact, the Great White Bill, they're starting to wake up that who it really protects is the swamp. I liked it the way that Tucker Carlson put it, and he's right. The rich and the powerful are the ones who most benefit from the big, beautiful bill. It's not the middle class, it's not the poor class, and if anything, what they did is they took the budget and they cut out health care out of it to give tax breaks to the rich. So that his idea that they were stupid people, I think that's where he failed. He thought I could take these people for a ride, I could talk bullshit to them, and they're going to buy it. At the same time, some of them are starting to realize that they're about to lose the election in November, and there's a good chance that nothing's going to happen for the next 2 years that will benefit their way of thinking. The prediction is that the Senate is going to go 50-50, which means that it's those things that can be done with 50 votes would take Vance to go and vote. Those things that take 60 votes. So the House is going to pass a law, it's going to go to the Senate, and there's going to die. Okay? That's the problem with the SAFE Act. Right now, today, the Senate has 53 votes. Of those, you have 3 that are pissed off with Trump.
Right.
He took out the senator in Louisiana. He took out the senator
Cassidy.
in Texas. And you have the one from North Carolina who's leaving.
Tillis.
And Collins, if she wants us to survive in Maine, she better not vote pro-Trump that much because that she might be penalized in Maine for that. So it's a matter he's lost that. So it's a question that there is not 60 votes to pass the SAFE Act. He knows that. And he knows that there's no flavor, even among Republicans, to abolish the filibuster.
Jimmy, I saw a clip of Senator Tom Tillis talking about the Save America Act and how it should have been moved forward 2 months ago. I'm like, well, where were you, dude? But regardless, it sounded like he was, giving some credence that through some kind of whatever reconciliation or some tactic that they can use, that this could be attached to another bill and it could get passed with 50 votes plus a vote of the vice president. So perhaps they're looking at a different method through the rules. of the Senate to get this passed.
Well, the problem with that is I don't think they have the 50 votes right now. I don't, including Tillis. Tillis is not going to vote for it.
Right.
And neither is Corey, neither is the one from, and
Cassidy.
Ron Paul has said he's not going to vote for it. I mean, it's not there. So, and let's not forget, we have one who's in the hospital.
That's true.
The votes are not
Mr.
there.
McConnell. Right.
You're not going to pass it. So I'm sorry. You have a problem in this moment where you don't have the votes, but there's no need. The problem is, first, this will apply to federal elections. States will still have the right to conduct elections the way they see fit. Second, with all due respect, you have a lot of people who are going to have to rush to get a birth certificate that maybe don't have one available. Okay, and that's going to be a problem. And why are you trying to make it more difficult to vote when 50% of the people already just don't vote?
Exactly, Jimmy. You just hit the nail on the head. Folks don't vote. They just don't.
They're fed up with the bullshit. And this is a bullshit that we have. This is a problem that doesn't exist. The Heritage Foundation tell you there's no fraud. Okay? And the fraud of the vote by mail were mostly people who, by the way, received the ballot. Okay? That were not entitled to it, and they voted. Okay? And mostly for those of you who do not understand, these were convicted felons who had not been pardoned.
Right.
But as for their ballot, because most of them were stupid enough to think, oh well, wait a minute, I don't have to have my once I'm out of jail, I paid my debt to society, so I should be. No, you had that. This is where the problem lies. But right now, it is something that is not kept up to date. We don't have a problem there. Now, I'll give you three things that we do have a problem with that are not being addressed. One,
Okay.
we have a severe problem of healthcare in this country.
Yes.
Okay. And Obama care needs to be modified, amended, changed, or whatever you want to call it. But because it's called Obamacare, Republicans are not going to do anything about it, and Democrats are not in control to do it. Okay, so basically, we have to function with a defective law, not because the law is defective, it's because we have a defective House and Senate. Second thing that needs to be done, and it's not going to be touched, is that we have a problem with our infrastructure. We have to repair roads, the interstates, which are federal responsibility, for the record.
Electrical grid.
Bridges that go over these interstates and all that. We have not prepared that because we can't agree on. Third, and this is the most interesting one that I think we all agree, we need to revise. We need to revise the laws and regulations that control corruption. Right now, every secretary is enriching themselves. Every congressman is enriching himself. Every state senator is enriching himself. And there's a lot of judges who are too. But there's no real regulation. What is now the regulation that exists right now is if I go, hey David, I'll give you $1 million for you to vote this way. But I know you probably did see Distinguished Gentleman with Eddie Murphy.
Oh yes.
In which he says, I bought 40,000 books from your wife. Yeah.
Yes.
And this is what I'm getting for the 40. There are ways that they are doing it. Okay.
Right.
Or like you have your own funds, your own pack, and you can spend it on travel and other things that they allow you. Look, we need to end corruption and get money out of politics as soon as possible. But the people who would have to do it are the ones who are benefiting from their not assisting a law. But that's what it is. So with that, I'm almost a little bit over the halfway point. I'm going now to address the comments. So
Excellent.
they were
I do.
everywhere.
I do have one comment, Jimmy, about Obamacare. Wasn't the government shut down by Congress a couple of times to deal with Obamacare? What happened with that particular talking point?
Well, the problem is that you never had the 60 votes in the Senate.
Mm-hmm.
And what they were trying to do is that they closed it down because the Republicans in the House decided that they were going to pass a law abolishing it, and the Senate they closed down the government, so they didn't consider that law.
Okay.
Look, eliminating Obamacare is not the solution at all.
Right.
As a matter of fact, I tend to agree with both two of my doctors who say we need to make sure that everybody gets health insurance in this country, because what's making this country sick is the neighbor who doesn't have health insurance.
Yeah. Good
And it's
point.
bringing up the cost when he goes to the emergency room to die.
Yeah, that's a good point. All right. Let's get to the comments. Let's go straight to TikTok. It's been a while. And let's go with a response to a comment that you made about the woman who yelled, "I want my country back." And when it was election night and Barack Obama and Joe Biden were announced as the new president and vice president of the United States. I have a comment from Doug B78. And Doug says, also interviewed the black lady who said she didn't have to pay her bills no more.
I'm not sure what he's talking about.
I have no idea what that meant. Maybe I missed that. Maybe she said that. Some woman said that, and it was, broadcast somewhere. She said that now that there was a black president, she gets a free pass on paying her bills. Go figure.
Makes no
If that
sense.
was right. If if that's the case, then I don't know.
Look, you can find whatever you want in these days of artificial intelligence to say anything you want. If she felt that because Barack Obama was elected, she didn't have to pay her bills, well, that's a comment. But when somebody says, "I want my country back," after the first black president is elected, that we do know where it's coming from. And particularly when we know that somebody say, "Let's go back and make America great again," to the days when blacks were not elected president, because that's the only way you could go back. I mean, nobody was saying 8 years after that, let's go back to George Bush, because most MAGA people do not like George Bush. Let's call it out. They don't. So they want to go further back. And most MAGA people don't even like Ronald Reagan.
That's true. Yeah,
They
that's
want to go
true.
back to the 50s. So really, the days where segregation was still legal. So that's a big difference. But yeah.
All right. So here's our next comment from, I guess you really touch a nerve with this person, Jimmy, because they came back
Good.
with a very strongly stated comment. This is from Mental Blaze 007. Mental Blaze. Mental Blaze said, SYBAU. In other words, this was in response to the same content. The lady, yelling, "I want my country back." Mental Blaze said, "Shut your bitch ass up."
Oh, so you don't have a response. You cannot talk intelligently You're just a moron who disagrees with me, and you have to say, shut your bitch mouth up. Well, to you, I'm just going to ignore you because you have nothing intelligent to contribute to this conversation. So, if you don't like what I say, tough luck. Next.
Yeah. Okay. And so let's see here. We're going back. Oh, we do have another from TikTok
TikTok.
here. And this person was responding to, I believe, the same comment. I want my country back. And this is from Basic Array. Basic Array. And Basic said, the Tea Party began the day of Obama's inauguration. I can't even say it right. But it was a fiscal thing. So, okay, they're responding and saying that the Tea Party was responding to Obama being elected, but what Basic is saying is like, no, it wasn't necessarily all about Obama. It was the fact that the United States was facing a fiscal crisis in the 2008 Great Recession. So that's their statement.
Look, was there a recession? That's kind of interesting to say. Uh, let's clarify what we're talking about 2008. What happened in 2008 was the responsibility of George W. Bush. Just before George W. Bush went down, two major banks went under, the mortgage companies went under, insurance companies were going under because of the big bubble that was created with the fake mortgages. Anybody who could breathe could get a mortgage. And they all had what we would call a date that you had to pay them, or the bubble, when the bubble came and everybody had to pay their mortgages and didn't have the more money, and all of a sudden there was a bunch of foreclosures out there. That all is well documented, and there's a movie that was made over it. And basically, these people, there was somebody who even went and bet that the bubble was going to explode and made almost $1 billion by betting that and getting insurance on it. So basically, you have people like Goldman and others that went under, okay? And that bubble was created by Wall Street under the Bush administration. As a matter of fact, that's why McCain suspended his campaign, if you can recall, because there was a crisis, and he went up to Washington to see how it could be solved. Obama inherited it. There is no doubt about it. Could have been managed better? Probably. I would even conceive that one. But the truth of the matter, MAGA was created the Tea Party was created for a different reason. It was created by two millionaire brothers over there who saw what later became MAGA as a major movement within the Republican Party. And basically, they realized that if they financed these people in primaries, they could win. And they did. And for those of you who keep talking about social democrats, you're right. But don't talk to me about social democrats when you had a Tea Party with some questionable statements, which including immigration and other things that about homosexuals and other things that did come up. Okay? So look, we both have our crazy. Okay?
Yeah.
So don't start thinking like, oh no, you got your crazies. We don't have ours. No, you have yours. It's called the Tea Party. Okay? The Tea Party, I don't think it was a finance thing as much as these two brothers trying to control the House. They got as much as 16 of them elected. They created their own caucus, of which Massey was part of it. Let's not forget that. He was part of it. As a matter of fact, I think there was a time that he chaired that. So they did exist. As a matter of fact, I think that Bobbitt came out of there. So did Marjorie Taylor Greene came out of there. So, yeah, there is a movement. But was it purely financial? I'm not sure. I think it's more people who were fed up and started using for the first time And this is the interesting thing. You know who used for the first time rhino? The Tea Party.
Ah, there you go. Good
Okay.
point.
So, they came to try to change the Republican Party to go more to the right than it was. And they're partly responsible. But was the racist completely? No. I'll accept that premise that it was part financial, part racial, part financial. But
Okay.
yeah, okay.
All right. And here is one from YouTube. Why negotiating peace with Iran is so complicated. This was back in the end of May. And this is from Oh Dear Babajan or something to that effect. So Oh Dear says, um, so let me guess, because US and Israel committed war crimes against a girls' school and targeted women, children, and family members of leaders. Well, yeah, that's comment from Oh Dear Babajan. And to go even further, Oh Dear added to their comment, what you were saying is true that the United States would never have allowed their one and only um, democratically elected president, the Shah, to leave. They would have kept that going as long as possible. So I guess in that part of their statement, they're saying that the United States supported the Shah of Iran. The Shah of Iran did not leave on his own accord. It was the Islamic Revolution 47 years ago that disposed of the Shah of Iran, and thus we are where we are right now. But what say you in regards to the so-called U.S. Israeli committing war crimes when the Tomahawk missile hit the school at the beginning of the war, of the first war with Iran, the 12-day war with Iran? Or was
Let
it
me
the
let me
was it
reverse
the
that.
second?
Yeah, let me reverse that. What bothers me about it is not that they did it. What bothers me is that till today we have not acknowledged and apologized. That's and I always like to put it in reverse. If you know me for some time, how would we feel if Iran had bombarded a school with 122 girls and claimed later, "Oh, we thought that was a military site. Oops, sorry." How would we react? Okay, and we all know how we react, and we react appropriately. Look, I'm going to say this in a very respectful way. I do not put us in the same category as what Netanyahu, and I'm going to clarify this again, what Netanyahu has done in Gaza. Did we not go along with it? Did we not condemn it? I would grant you that. But we did not bombard. We had nothing to do with the missiles that were sent by Netanyahu in Gaza. Whatever happened in Gaza, I blame one person, Netanyahu. To put us in that category, I think is unfair. Okay, I understand that some of you think that we should have been firmer and we should have said to Netanyahu to stop. That yes, that I understand, but don't put us in the same category as Netanyahu. And I keep calling Netanyahu because I would not blame the people of Israel for this. This is strictly him. This is on him. And that's why there's a warrant for his arrest for war crimes. And that's a well-known factor. I'm not making that up. Okay. But no, the U.S. did not bombard. Did we sell them the weapons? Yes, we sold weapons to Saudi Arabia. We sell weapons to Qatar, and I could keep on going because that's our business. But by the way, the U.S. government doesn't sell weapons. It allows the producers of weapons to sell to them. That they do, but
Yes.
we don't sell them. So that's, I know it's a technical point for those, but no. What happened in Gaza, I'll put that on Netanyahu. What happened in Iran with our bombs, yeah, that's our responsibility. Yeah. And it should have been, everybody's documented that the 122 girls were killed who went to school. Yeah, we should apologize for that because it was a mistake. We thought it was something else. Yeah, but still, we should apologize for that. We just have denied We have not. Okay, that I would say. What was thrown in our war by planes carrying our insignia, that's our responsibility, but not Gaza. Uh-uh. So
Mhm.
next,
All right. And then we have our last one here, Jimmy. And this one goes a little bit back to May. And again, this is someone who commented on um, ah our episode that was titled Wake Up USA, they're lying to you about redistricting." And we had a spirited conversation about redistricting. And this comment is from Super Hot Fire 9001. And
another names these people create for themselves.
I know, very creative. We've got I, we've got a another ignorant statement. Super hot fire. Um, Jimmy, I apologize, but we're gonna tell it like it is, and we're gonna show how
Go
ignorant
for it.
people are. The fat guy with the blue shirt has to be drunk. He keeps getting the names wrong. Get your candidate names right before you make accusations. Who is Brian Thompson? He's trying to say Byron Donalds. Laugh my ass off. USA, USA. Trump 2028. Get triggered, you communist lefties. Wow, he came in just blazing, and I
Well,
guess that's why he's super hot fire.
I apologize. He's right. I confused Mr. Tano. I did. And after I did it, and I realized, but hey, in the heat of arguments, sometimes we mispronounce names. At least I pronounce names. You hide it in anonymous, but that's because you don't have the guts to give us your own name. But uh, look, come with solutions. Calling me a communist is stupid on your part because I'm not. Calling me names is not a solution to the problem. You are the problem. Instead of sitting down and say, let's have an intelligent conversation, your response is, let me insult you. Let me put you down. Let me say something nasty about you. And that is going to help America in what aspect? I have no fucking idea. But
Jimmy, Jimmy, guess what? So I responded, letting Super Hot Fire know to be respectful and be civil and be tactful. And guess what? Super Hot Fire did respond and let me add this. Okay, okay, you got a fair point, but you know I'm right. Why let the left push the communist agenda? The left has been keeping us black folk down too long. I ain't saying the Republicans are perfect. They ain't. They got a lot of problems, but they aren't trying to bring their regime. Okay?
what regime? That's when
Yes. So what regime is that? I would like to know.
this is kind of interesting because I he might be older than I think he is
You look
because
like a
he's right.
younger guy.
Okay, well, I'm not sure how
His avatar.
either party is trying to bring down African Americans. I really don't. But it's kind of interesting. Part of the coalition of the Democratic Party currently is the African American vote. It just always has been.
Yeah.
Uh, and I never and one party that if you talk bad about African Americans will kick you out is the Democratic Party. The Republican Party, you could go out and say that Puerto Ricans are trash, and you could talk bad about African Americans. So I'm not sure what it is. And to be quite honest, I'm not sure what the regime of Republicans have done to advance the African American community. As a matter of fact, other than them enriching themselves, I'm not sure what they've done for anybody. I'm going to call it that out that way. Not even whites, blacks, Hispanics, Asian, nobody. All they want is to put money in their pockets. So that's it. Uh, I really do not know where he's coming from because
You make a good point, Jimmy,
I don't
about
think
the.
that either party has been trying to put down the African American community. Neither.
Right. You make a good point about the Democratic Party. The backbone of the Democratic Party are black women. So if the Democratic Party or leftists are putting blacks down, well, you got to look in the mirror. You got to look inward to see that the black people vote overwhelmingly for Democrats.
And I've never seen liberals have an agenda against blacks. I'm sorry. I've never
Mhm.
seen that. If anything, I'm going to say this. When Obama ran, it was the liberal side of the party that pushed him because
Correct.
they didn't trust Hillary Clinton to be a liberal. They knew she was not, but they felt that it was a great idea to elect the first African American president. So I'm not sure. Now, if you tell me that the liberals right now are criticizing Israel inappropriately, I'll grant you that. If you
Okay.
tell me that the liberals right now are criticizing the rich, being richer and impoverishing the poor, yes. Talking about affordability, yes. Talking about things that may not feel right about how they think that some people are oppressing us, yes. And how, this is the interesting part. I find this extremely. MAGA criticize the Republican Party for not doing certain things, and liberals criticize the Democratic Party for not doing certain things. That's something they both have in common, but they will never admit that. So,
Sure.
but to say that liberals have put down African Americans, that doesn't make
Yeah,
sense.
I'm kind of confused.
Yeah, you know. Now, if you tell me some other things, we could have a discussion, but that one blows my mind. Any other comments?
That's it, sir.
Oh, good. For once, we're going to conclude the program with all the comments. So let's go into the fuck ups of the week.
All right, sir.
Okay. Fuck up of the week on the Republican side. After working so hard to get the Mortgage Affordability Act passed by Congress, by Republicans and Democrats, okay? President Trump decided, I'm not going to sign this. I'm not going to pass it. I want nothing to do with it. And this word of affordability is an invented word, took away the one campaign issue that Republicans could run on. Hey, look, we did something about the rent increases. We did something saying that banks and mortgage companies and financial companies cannot own more than 8% of the houses in this country so other people can buy them. We're doing something on the control of prices for houses. We're doing something to help you get into housing, only to have somebody saying that back, yeah, but your president, the one that you have back for the last 2 years, has said no to that act and said that that act is bullshit. So your party's head has said that this act is bullshit. Two, they had some hope that prices of gasoline was going to come down because of the memorandum of misunderstanding or understanding, whatever you want to call it. We know that President Trump has declared off the ceasefire is off, according to him, and we're back in war. And because of that, we're going to have now, coming next month, August primaries, prices of gasoline $4 and over. And basically, we're going to have this going on for some time. And we're going to be probably going into the September and October campaign months with a war in Iran, which is going to consume all our election and make it more difficult for Republicans to be elected. The president is not concentrated in your mortgage. He's not concentrated in your housing. He's not concentrated in your gasoline or anything like that. He's concentrated because somebody has convinced them that the SAVE Act will save this country. We all know it doesn't have the votes, and we all know that not everybody in this country has an accessible birth certificate right now. So that will create a chaos. And by the way, just for those of it, becomes a moot issue because election ballots are already out. And for primaries, the mail by vote by mail have already gone out. Democrats, people, you need to stop expecting that Donald Trump is going to win this election for you. You have had results in this country where people do not want the establishment. It was not that they were all for Planter in Maine. It was that they were against the two establishment candidates, the former governor and the former secretary of state. They didn't want them. They wanted new blood. Georgia, the two senators that you have, new blood. They were not career politicians, neither of them. Particularly one of them who's still a pastor.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, embrace the changes that are happening in the party. Don't push the young people away. Don't push those away from you. You're going to get 3 new Congress people in New York and 1 away from New York. And you might have others coming up soon. Embrace the change. Embrace the fact that people are pissed off with the establishment in both parties. Embrace it, and you will win this election big. As a matter of fact, I'm predicting today that the Senate will go 50-50. That will be a loss of 3 for the Republicans. That would be significant because with that, the only way in the future would be that the senators work together to get things done. With that, subscribe. With that, comment. With that, even if you think that I'm wrong, say it. But be polite about it. Don't call me a communist. I'm not a communist. I'm just like you. Somebody's fed up with the House and the Senate and the President. Other than that, I'm happy with this country. So with that, I will not be seeing you next week because I'm going to be in Maine on a deserved vacation, but I will be back the following week. Take care to all.
Thank you, Jimmy. I'll be in Illinois, so maybe I'll take a detour and stop in and check you out in Maine. Who knows?
Okay, that sounds good. Take care.
Have a safe trip, and God bless, Jimmy.
You too.
Thank you.